Dimp Digital presents Idle Game Chat.
Cool.
So Logan, what's this Palworld all about?
Where'd you start?
Wow, you start
I don't
wherever you
really
want.
see what's got everyone hooked on it. Or at
8
least that
million
piqued them.
copies sold on Steam.
Yeah. I don't know whether it's because Pokemon has just been such a sack of disappointing shite. I mean, I say that everyone's enjoyed it, but below,
The technical
not hit-
issues have been fucking
Yeah.
annoying.
and you have to play it on that Switch and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So I guess the idea that you could play Pokemon Light, I mean, I call it Light. It's not Light. It's Pokemon Plus, really.
Yeah.
With mods, essentially, as I understand it, kind of is attractive to people. But it sounds fucking bizarre. I haven't seen a lot of it, and I haven't read too much into it. It kind of caught me, and probably most people to a certain degree, by absolute surprise.
No,
I don't know how.
not that the competitors in the fantasy gaming league are the most, attached to the gaming industry, but 60 odd games it didn't get a sniff. So clearly
No.
not on anyone's radar. I certainly didn't have any. I think it had been shown at like cause it's on Game Pass as well. So even that really is sort of slipped by, that it's sitting there on that Game Pass, and 8 million people thought, well, I'll just buy it because it's 30 quid, I think, or 26 quid at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's just it reminds me of Valheim. I don't know if you remember that from a couple of years back,
Good
2021. I mean, that ended up shipping, I think, like 6 to 7 million by like May of 2021. But even I ended up jumping on that with the likes of Sedave and Paper and others.
Yeah.
And it was again similar thing, early access, so not complete, but it was getting great press. And this Palworld, I know people go, well, it was in this showcase, it was there. I knew it was going to be. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You bet when you first saw it, you thought that looks fucking stupid. There's fucking Pokemon running around with guns.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous, but it's actually a survival game at its heart.
It's Minecraft Pokemon with guns, as I understand it. That's basically they've ripped off two elements.
Yeah.
Ripped off Pokemon, ripped off Minecraft. Then there's also this third element where you can give the pals guns, which is you're
And
right.
jobs.
It sounds batshit crazy, but plenty for people arguably to get their teeth into.
Has it appeared in any? Because I know you follow more of a streaming culture than I do, or even like a clips culture. Has it appeared on any of those places you frequent? Because I know that a lot of those are like Call of Duties and competitive multiplayer stuff. But I wonder with stuff like this, where it gets so big that they think, oh, I'll just jump in for a day or two just to see what it's all about, because everyone's waffling about it.
I mean, look, like, this isn't the sort of game. I would be really shocked if someone like Dr. Disrespect jumps on this. It's just not what he's about. Like, he will play single-player games, but he will play ones that he thinks look interesting. Like, he played Last of Us. He's done like good games, arguably. He doesn't get snarled up in flash it in the pans. I think is the way to put it.
You think this will be a flash in the pan then?
Well, yeah.
8 million copies.
That's no.
They've sold 8 million.
No,
so
this is what I'm saying. Like, they've done
done
what they need to do. But I'm just saying, I don't know. These sort of things don't tend to. I mean, look, for everyone that catches you off guard, there's like a Fortnite, which somehow manages. There's a Rocket League. There are these games out there that come from arguably nowhere to be like to have longevity, but they are the exception to the rule, not the rule. Like, most of these sort of games have this sort of initial peak and then plateau and then die a death of some sort. Not completely, but back down to a level. And I don't know. This feels like the sort of game, especially if the Pokemon Company apply bit more of a firm hand could,
Well,
and not to perhaps spoil the the thunder, but I think that's perhaps where you could see it struggle.
Yeah, I was going to say, it may well be a flash in the pan for legal reasons, if nothing else, because when it first was kind of getting some traction, probably about a week or maybe 10 days ago, there was... The comparisons already been drawn up, and they say this looks almost identical to X Pokemon, and there are some that look eerily similar. Let's just say that. So the question was, why haven't the Pokemon company got involved? And a lot of people said, why haven't Nintendo got involved? Because they are infamous for shutting down any sort of IP infringement. I remember there was a Metroid 1 remake that was being put out, and they let it happen. They knew it was happening. There were trailers for it. As soon as it was released publicly, they went, right, that's gone, like almost within a day. So they're not against just getting rid of these things if it's infringing on what they seem to be their IP. The difference with Pokemon is it's like the Pokemon company, I think, have a majority share. Nintendo have 33%. Game Freak have 30%. It's all a bit of a fuck up, but essentially it's the Pokemon company's kind of gig to do this, and they will have access to Nintendo should they need to, I think, for lawyers and whatnot. But yeah, they've now come out and said, look, we're investigating this. We've not granted any permission for the use of any Pokemon IP or assets, so they're just sort of covering backsides off with that. And I guess my point on this is that actually, whatever happens with Palworld, whether it's given the green light and they get away with it, or it's dragged through the mud, ultimately will be the factual story, because either it is or it isn't at this stage. And like, the lawyers that get involved aren't amateurs. So if there's a case to be made, they will make it and we'll hear about it. If it goes away, then apparently it's not quite as perhaps egregious as what some people are saying. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. It's in a bit of flux. I can only imagine, I mean, it's the question now, if this had just come out and done what most people expected, which was nothing, just sort of appeared, would they have even looked at it, the Pokemon company? I think the fact that it's been got such a high profile and they've seen the sales, they're like, well, they've got a bit of money, these people.
It's materiality, right?
This. Yeah.
It's like, if you decide to launch any sort of legal proceeding, there's going to be a cost and resource implication for your business. And it's like, do you want to use your resource, and is it worth your while using that resource for that? So they obviously have to make a decision, and once it gets to a certain point and it gets highlighted, and everyone, the thing is, they didn't say anything, and everyone's out there like going, how are they not, like, this is obvious. Like, people aren't even going, whoa, it's a tenuous link. People are going, this is literally a rip-off, like, in almost every way. Like, that's the narrative that I've heard anyway. So they've obviously felt a need to come out and clarify, because people have been going, they must have signed this off, like, they must have been spoken to, otherwise this wouldn't have ever made it out.
Yeah.
And Pokemon Company have just come out and gone, well, we haven't done anything. And I think that's a shot, isn't it, off the port bow to say, look, like, we're giving you the chance, we're aware, we're giving you the chance to do something about this, perhaps, before we think about taking this one step further and issuing some sort of formal legal warning. But yeah, I don't think it's a case of, I mean, I've seen some of the pictures, and I don't think it's a case of just coincidence. Like, it in some instances, it looks almost like a lazy rip-off, like, of character models and Pokemon and stuff. Like, I don't know what they're thinking. Like, you're asking for trouble, but maybe sometimes I think, like, is this a way of garnering PR? Because there's all that saying, isn't there? There's no such thing as bad publicity.
No, and
right?
it's
kind of like,
what's really got it stirring. People heard there's a new Pokemon, like, there's a Pokemon with Guns game coming out, or a survival Pokemon game. That's what people are saying. They're referring to it as a Pokemon game, which immediately attached a level of interest for people. Because if they just said, it's another survival game where you've got pets, fuck cares about that. But as soon as every article came out and said, Pokemon like Palworld is and that just
there is a way around it though, because you know, Digimon was a thing for a while, and you've had various different things that have been able to.
Garner's favourite was Digimon. He was
So,
one of the
yeah, but
only
this is
people I
what I'm-
knew that wanted that over Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. I was like, I don't know why you would take this, but there has been things that can exist alongside it. You can't just sort of go, well, anything that's like a pet that's like, do you know what I mean? It's I don't know what the actual IP is.
Pets.
Yeah, I knew. I was waiting for that. I think it just depends on a lot of things, but they've basically just said, look, we're looking at it, and I think that's the warning shot that was needed. But I don't know where it goes. I don't.
No. Again, I'll let the lawyers do what they need to do, because ultimately, as I said, if there's any sniff of a case, they'll be having it. If there's not, they won't, and that'll decide the debate, as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of people. They've had people come out saying, "Oh, we've just got in touch with a senior character artist, and they've said that it's quite clear that they've ripped off the models. There's no way you could get these proportions, without it being traced in some way." So, I mean, all this stuff, if they've imported the assets onto their systems and then used them as a base, that'll all be logged somewhere. So, if this does go the full sort of 9 yards, then is it 9 yards? What is it? Is it 9 or 10 yards?
Whole 9 yards, isn't it?
Why is it only 9?
It's 9 yards to a penalty spot or something like that, isn't it?
Spot
Isn't that...
kick. That's 12 yards.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be an Americanism, wouldn't it?
I hope not.
Whereas 9 yards are thing in like executions. It's something like that. Like this.
Yeah, it's an American phrase.
Oh, 9. It's a film.
First usage was the punchline of an 1855 Indiana comedic short titled "The Judge's Big Show." Oh, I ain't getting involved in this. It's nonsense. Anyway, we'll find out, because these lawyers will be having at it. And any interest in playing it, I guess, would be the next question. I mean, it's on that PC. It's on that Game Pass. You could just load it up on that PC Game Pass. You go, look, Paper, jump on with me. I know we're enemies at the moment. Let's sort of
perpetual enemies for 25 years, some might say. No, I haven't wrote it off. Like, I think if there was, it's not on my immediate. I don't ever like the idea of just jumping on a bandwagon. Like, I'm like, I don't want to be.
I'm like that. It feels.
Do you know what I mean? Almost out of principle, I'm like, I'm not doing it, but just because I'm just doing it because everyone else is. Like, I want to get involved in the hype or something, and I sort of automatically want to just sit here with my arms folded, going, absolutely not. But I'm not against it. Like, I think if there's an element of co-op or something like that, or if there's actually something substantial to it that makes it good to play and interesting and fun to play, then yeah, I'd jump on it. But weirdly, kind of want to wait for the hype to die down. I don't know why. There's absolutely it doesn't make sense, but I kind of, if I do, I like to jump on things because I think there's merit to it. I don't like to just be one of another number in a headline.
Interesting that they've only revealed the sales numbers, mostly 8 million stolen seeds. They're not. What's happened to these people played engagement that Phil keeps chucking out? That'd be much higher.
About that? Where was
the
that?
concurrent users did come out, and it was like second highest in Steam history.
Yeah.
So that did
That's
get
only
released.
the Steam numbers.
Yeah, but I want to know what it's on Game Pass. Should have 50 million people playing it by now.
They never talk to that shit though, do they?
That's what they care about. 50 million logons.
They don't talk to that bullshit. They talk about how many people are subscribed to it, don't they? Or something like that.
No,
but whenever they draw the line.
Starfield's reached 12 million players. Huh? Anyway. We'll see about Palworld, because another reason why I don't want to jump in is if it gets pulled down, then wasted time and investment anyway. So if the Pokemon company have their fucking way with it and decide that it's egregious, that'll be gone anyway. So time lost.
But then you miss out on the whole experience as well. You never got to experience it. Shut down. Pulled.
There's plenty of YouTube videos.
What happens there? If it gets pulled, is it just dead money?
Well, I think people get refunded. I would imagine there's a process in place for that, and I would, because I would imagine Palworld would be responsible for that. should they lose a
Already
court
spent
case.
it, mate.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there is that element.
Already paid the bonuses.
That's why you don't go after people with no money, isn't it? That's why they wait until they know they've got a bit of bank to sit on. So if you go after someone who's got nothing, they can't give you anything, can they? Whereas they're like, well,
wait
you've
until you
sold.
see them end of year accounts and then go, right, 6 mil in the bank, go after them.
If I was running that company, I would immediately retire now and just take a massive cut of what I was owed and go, I'm getting out of here.
The thing is, I look at stuff like this, and before they release it, like, you must know, like, if we were working on something and it's literally a rip-off of,
yeah.
like, say we just changed this whole format to be like Joe Rogan, like, and we got big, like, and a lot of people, we got a load of viewers, like, we'd be sitting there going, well, we're not gonna be allowed to get away with this. Do you know what I mean, or something like that? Like, I think they must know. So it'd be interesting to see whether they like almost double down on it, or whether they do sort of go, look, all right, we'll make a few small changes or something. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's a Japanese developer, Pocket Pair. I don't think they've done anything beforehand. So it's just one of those things that's come out the bins and then, absolutely obliterated things. It really is a sensation. I kind of hope they do there's nothing untoward and that they get left alone, because if Pokemon Company is still going to churn out technical disasters, then they deserve a fucking punch on the nose. Maybe this will wake them up a bit, but it won't, because it's cheaper just to roll out the toot and say, look, we've given you the open world, but it runs absolute dog shit.
Imagine if they run something, or they release something that would go on to PC, and you could run this, like, beautiful, like, it's just like the ultimate.
That's the irritants of Nintendo being involved in this whole Pokemon company, is that it's locked to whatever they do. Yeah, I mean, if they could get like Pokemon on PC, that'd be fucking. I mean, can you imagine? Maybe they'll see this. I mean, I doubt.
Subscription model, like World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Huge world, ever increasing. Honestly, it's like the holy grail. But as you say, because Nintendo are locked into it, you're just stuck looking at it on a fucking 3-inch screen, or on a screen that don't run up to 1080p in 2024.
Well, new one coming.
Well, I don't want it.
We'll see. We'll see about that. Anyway, Palworld a success, but for how long? Only the lawyers know at this stage. So we'll track it. If they get pulled down, if they get away with it, we'll probably mention it as well. But this is Idle Game Chat, Dimp Digital's flagship video game podcast. Got apps here, and I'm joined by the current Fantasy Gaming League champion. It is Logan going against Mr. Paper in that endeavour. This is a grassroots and independent endeavour, so any pennies that come our way is appreciated. Patreon.com/Dimp Digital is the place to go, and you can join our other patrons there who we are not eternally grateful of, because if you do quit, like, I'm not going to be eternally grateful to someone that, look, I was a patron for 2 years and I had to stop. Okay, well,
I'm grateful for the month that you subscribe.
Yeah.
If you do it the next month, I'm still grateful.
And if you stop, I'm immediately not grateful.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Grassroots, innit? Not corporate.
We're not a charity, so we ain't got the time to be thankful.
I had
for
one of
what's
those people try and stop me on the way to the train the other day. I think,
honestly, it's my least favourite thing to do. Is because I went out yesterday to go and get lunch, and I went to Sainsbury's, and they're literally waiting. They've got a little desk outside the door to Sainsbury's, and I'm like, you think you're going to stop me, and I'm going to go, oh, I'm fucking starving hungry, and I've got 20 minutes until my next meeting, but instead of getting this lunch and eating it, I'm going to talk to you.
Day better.
I always give them the same spiel where I go, why is this more
Why are you
important than the
engaging with them?
RSPCA? Well, I go, why is this more important than the RSPCA? 10 seconds. Because if you can convince me of that, then I'll take my money away from that.
Yep.
You got to draw the line somewhere. So I go, what's more important than dying donkeys or little doggies and cats? And people will go, well, this, that, and the other, dying kids, whatever. But I'm like, right, but why?
Yeah.
10 seconds.
There is no. There is actually, if you ever watch daytime TV, there is like a donkey charity.
Yeah.
For abroad. It's horrible, but yeah. Well, I was going to say on the way. The Sainsbury's thing I kind of get. They're going to get a lot of other people go in there. For whatever reason, people that don't work in London walk around there. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, it should be for working only, but anyway, they do. But there were these people outside the train station. So, you normally get to the train station, if you're lucky, 10 minutes before it's due. You don't really have much time to fuck about. And
It's not
most
like an
people...
airport where you're waiting around for 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. And I just thought, you're not going to get to stop. People aren't going to be... I've got 5 minutes to get on that train. I've got to get through the gates because the smart car's not working this morning for some reason. That's down. So I don't know why they're playing at there. It's the wrong place to be going. But a charity we are not, and we will not be doing any outreach like that. Be interested to see what sort of response you get.
Yeah.
Just started knocking
Dimp
on
Digital.
doors.
They go, what? Well,
Headquarters up the
podcasting.
road.
What do you do? Good cause? Well, we talk about gaming. They go, right.
Yeah.
That's me giving someone hard time when they're talking. Like, there's a lot of like knife charities and action stuff in London they try and get you to sign up for. So you got that, me giving them hard time, and then we're there.
Is that what it was? Outside Sainsbury's?
No, there is one particularly that hovers around where I work that's always trying to do stuff. And look, I get it, and it's a tricky thing to do, but I've got finite resources. I've got kids to look after, animals to feed, RSPCA to look after. So where do you draw the line here? Where do you So my argument's always the same. Why stop? And they go, we don't have to stop. And I go, well, I do.
Yeah.
Do. So if you want the money, it comes off of sick cats and funny rabbits and all that kind of stuff. So you sell it to me.
Yeah.
And they struggle.
They can't. Nope. Anyway, if you want to commit to our charity, patreon.com/Dimp Digital. The Twitch channel's kind of died a death a bit.
Not a lot going on there, is there?
No, I am going to get back on there, but it's only going to be wrestling, so that really niches down any interest from most people. I'm not going to play.
It's hard work though, streaming. Like, people think, oh, you just let it go while you're playing. It's like, we don't. Like,
it's irritating.
If people join.
No, I'd never play something for the first time on there.
No.
Anything story, no. It's just simply not going to happen. And even playing any sort of action game really is an irritant because you need a bit of focus. So those strategy games are good. I've done a bit of F1 Manager. The wrestling sim's good. Gets feet up.
The trouble is, they're also the least interesting to watch. That's where the trouble is for it. So you get caught in this paralysis where you want to enjoy it, but you don't want to then engage. Well, you don't want to engage with people, but what's the point in streaming it really if you're just going to not engage with people that join? Because they'll be like, what am I here for? So it's always a tricky thing to do. So I kind of always have respect for streamers that manage to do that effectively, because it's a tricky balancing act. My favourite thing is sometimes when they lose their shit.
Yeah.
Stop backseating. If you don't like it, fuck off. And I think,
it is an
fair play.
People start doing that. But, twitch.tv/Dimp Digital is there. Amazon Prime. I will start it back up. I mean, Hall was doing a lot of Destiny, and then he seems just to play it now and not bother showing anyone. I think he's so ashamed of the hours he's put in that.
He's
public.
I think it's probably fair to say it's probably his solo only game that he plays now still, which is
that is a terrible business.
It's not where you want to be.
No,
there you go.
Poor bloke. Anyway, we've got some SGL updates.
Yes,
we've got Tekken 8. It's finally released. He's on Paper's team. So he's finally off the mark, as though he's been sitting there for free. But he hasn't. It's like he's got one out in January and laughing. And it's Salmon's pick. And it's a good one. It's a 90 that Tekken 8 has come out to do. Now, we saw the 92s, I think, for Street Fighter 6. And then the 84s, I think it was, for Mortal Kombat. And this is above Mortal Kombat and below Street Fighter 6, kind of where people expect. I think a 90 is a great score for this, and
I think so.
Yeah,
I didn't expect it to do better than Mortal Kombat.
No, I think it was.
What do I know?
Great. Well, no, we don't know anything really, but it's doing well. So let's take a look at what some of the media is saying. We've got Ronnie Barrier from IGN. Big Ronald
getting signed off.
Tekken 8 is an incredible evolution for the series with tons of single-player content, an excellent suite of training tools, a great online experience, and exciting new mechanics that make Tekken more dynamic than ever. So, that's pretty good. Let's go to Marcus Stewart from Game Informer.
Cool, former Ipswich striker.
Is he? Well, was there someone called Marcus Stewart that played for Ipswich?
Yeah, he got a one-time
Ipswich
England
Town.
cap as well at some point. It was when Ipswich got promoted.
What was the Prem?
And then
Were they in the
under, what's
Prem?
his name? They were.
Years ago.
Not now.
90s.
Years
wasn't it?
ago. Who was it? It was a Scottish fella that got them promoted. Oh,
How many other
No.
teams end with Town have got to the Premier League? Ipswich Town, Luton Town. Are they? Is that how they're?
Luton. I don't know Luton. Luton might be Luton Town. I don't know.
Yeah, not many is what I'm trying to get at.
No.
there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I mean, there's probably more like than we think. Some of the
Well, they're calling
Quote,
Southend a
unquote.
city now, so they're really stretching what
Southend
is called a
City
city.
FC. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Rotten.
What's his? I forget that. It's going to annoy me, but I need to figure out what his name was.
All right, we'll come back to that. 8.3 out of 10 from Marcus. Anyway, 6 goals a season at Ipswich. As a complete package, Tekken 8 doesn't reach the heights of recent rivals like Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1, but when the match begins, you're exploiting the openings to unleash flashy combo strings and air juggles, it remains a thrilling, if very familiar, one-on-one experience. So he's saying it's not as good, and I'm not going to go back through and see what scores Game Informer gave them to check if that's accurate or what Marcus even said. I would like to do that at some point just to catch him out if he hasn't scored them correctly. But he's still positive, but not really as critical of it. This is the last of the fighting game trio, is what I'd call them. With, as I said, Street Fighter's out, and so is Mortal Kombat. If you had to play one of these, what's the most likely one? They said, look, gun to your head, you need to put 50 hours into one of these games. If all 3 of them are out, you can choose whatever you want. We're being kind in that sense. You got Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, or you can try this Tekken. What are you going to go for?
Probably Mortal Kombat. Because that
Wants the gore.
is the one. I'm trying to think. I did play Street Fighter as well. Like going back on like Mega Drive and SNES sort of days.
Yeah.
I did used to play either of those because they go back to that. I don't think Mortal Kombat was on SNES, but I'm pretty sure Street Fighter.
I think it was. But they had the green blood. That was, when they censored. Well, they censored it. Yeah, they put green blood instead of real blood because it was too violent on Nintendo's SNES. But it was on the Mega Drive as well.
Yeah.
I think
It's because I played that on the Mega Drive and I only ever played Street Fighter on the SNES. So I
Yeah.
just associated them with those consoles at that time.
Didn't know any better. Did he?
Sorry?
Didn't know any
better. You're quite right. At 6 or 7 or whatever I was back then. So it'd be one of those. But I did also have the original Tekken on PlayStation. So it's
Yes.
interesting. But I never played that again. And I never had any association with the characters. So that'd be the last one I played. I think I'd probably play Mortal Kombat. But I only used to play my sister on it, and I just used to beat her all the time. And I was like, well, this is easy. I had no interest in doing single player stuff on there. It's basically just me versus my sister.
Yeah. Slaughter.
So I reckon if I tried to pick one up at now, I'd just be like, what do I even do here? Just button bashing a load of stuff.
Well, training modes. I think all of them have got training modes to various degrees, but it will teach you the basics. I mean, Street Fighter has 2 or 3 control methods. One that's completely simplified, so a lot of the combos you can do with just a couple of button presses rather than 3 or 4.
It's cheating, though, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. But if you're being held at ransom with a gun to your head just to play it, it's probably the easiest way to get through it. So,
yeah, no doubt about that. What's that one with the superheroes?
Injustice.
I think that's the one that I'd be most likely out of anything to ever do.
That's the same developers as Mortal Kombat, funnily enough. So,
Yes.
yeah, NetherRealm. So, yeah, then there's a little bit of continuity there. That's the one I've played recently, the story modes of those, because they put some effort in. And in saying that, Street Fighter 6 has got a strange story-ish mode, like a world tour. It's a bit like Yakuza. You're running around this world fighting like old ladies and leveling up your character and whatnot. But, you know, Tekken and Mortal Kombat both have reasonably robust story options as well. So they've started to at least implement that.
Like the idea of a story, and then you're just, it must just be a case of setting the scene, right, as to what you're having a fight about, whether that's a cinematic and you land up there. But it's not like playing through, I imagine, like a proper story, like a Last of Us or an Uncharted or something like that. Like it's never going to reach those sort of levels. But I think I even remember on the original Street Fighter that I used to play that they added some sort of reason or brief cutscene or something as to why you were in Brazil and why you were having this fight. Like, so they did
at the end, they would have a little like story piece.
Yeah.
Because I remember Blanca, I can't remember his real
name.
I can't remember.
Yeah, Blanca, yeah.
He's like, Mum would come and visit him or something, and then he'd be like, Mummy. And I was like, what the fuck is... Because I used to cheat.
I was always him. He was a cheat character.
Well,
I used to just
cheat
sit on the floor, just constantly electrified. Yeah, just over and over again.
But I used to cheat even more. I used to get a second controller and press start, so it was just a vessel to hit. But you couldn't do that against Bison. The last fight, you couldn't do that to get the little completed story. So I had to always beat Bison on my own. And sometimes I'd lose, and it would be a tragedy for the
disaster.
But I remember just doing that, just putting the next controller and pressing start, beating all the way up, and then just putting all my eggs in that one fight with Bison.
All I got to do is beat M Bison once.
Yeah, and he was pretty tough because he had some weird moves, but more often than not, I'd get the better of him with old Blanca.
Sometimes it was bullshit though. I'm adamant, like whatever you do, it'd just be like hitting a. It just already decided that there was no way you were winning that fight. I'm adamant.
Yeah, I think sometimes it knew I was cheating the system and be like, well, you're not getting close this time.
We got another kid here trying to cheat the system. Teach him a lesson.
Let me do it. I remember being so disappointed when I did it on the last boss with Bison, and his outfit, I remember, changed colours slightly. I was like, that's a bit weird. And then I beat him, and it just sort of ended, and nothing happened. And I was like, oh, it wants me to beat him as why he's the AI. I was like, this is annoying. And then eventually got
him out.
Got the better of him with a few characters. But so it's Mortal Kombat for you then?
Probably, just because I've got actually some, and I've watched the films and this that, and the other. I just think there's, I don't know. I don't know whether I've
seen the most recent one.
Nah. I mean, I'd say
a sequel to that.
I don't like sullying a lot of those took films. Like in my mind, they're took by. If I watch them now, they're absolute garbage. But watching what's his name, Belgian fella, go around and fucking do all that sort of stuff, like it's complete nonsense. Van Damme, that's it. Watching him do all that, it's just. But anyway, I think. Yeah, it'd probably be that. I mean, it's not like I'm a huge fan. It's not like I've got anything much invested in it, but I've got the most association with probably Mortal Kombat, closely followed by Street Fighter.
Van Damme. For some reason, I thought he was just American Van Damme.
Belgian, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. No, you're right. I was like, check that. I thought he's just had like a European Van Damme name, but I don't think that's his real name. It's something like Van. Yeah, but it's proper European from that one. But he
knew those Yanks wouldn't be able to pronounce it, so simplified.
Van Damme does sound cool. Let's be honest. So he's done
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, not Jean-Claude Camille Francois Van Valenberg. It's written on his
the second
passport. But no, I think I would choose Street Fighter. I think just go for the highest number rating and wash hands of it. You've gone for the lowest, so going for the toot. Now I like the idea of that weird story thing, that weird like single player mode, the world tour where you run around Yakuza style. Because that would entertain me enough where it's different.
Yeah, that'd be enough for you. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, look, I've got no real interest in any of it. So it's like I'd rather not do any of it if I'm honest. But if someone, as I say, gun to the head, it'd probably be that Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's good though. If you're into that realm, if you like those three in particular, you've had pretty good entries into all of them. And
I thought people might be a bit sick going back to the actual like scoring and the FGL piece. I actually thought people might be a bit sick of the whole combat style game, and this one might just be a bit of a victim of fatigue, coupled with the fact that it hasn't done great over the past couple of entries, I don't think, or as high as this. I thought, oh, maybe it wouldn't hit those notes. But after claiming that there's just going to be a sea of toot this year, we've had some, couple getting into that 90s realm already. So
I
all pants down. George Burley, by the way.
Right, that's the Ipswich striker. So
no,
not
Ipswich
Marcus Stewart.
manager. Marcus Stewart was the top scorer in the Premier League when they got promoted. The manager was George Burley. No one cares, but it's just me satisfying my own curiosity.
Well, yeah, it had to be done. It couldn't be left unsolved, that one. So anyway, we'll end it on that. George Burley, manager. Stewart, striker. Ipswich Town, one of the few towns to make it into the Premier League. Anyway, that's a 90 for paper and salmon. You've then landed Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which has also scored a 90, the highest scoring Yakuza game in history. I mean, it's quite a lot of entry. I think it's 8 mainline entries. Yeah. It's pretty good going. It really has gone from strength to strength, this series. It's what started out as a massively niche product that actually was only released in Japan and on PlayStation. They took a long time to localize and port it over to Western audiences, and it's slowly over the last 3 to 5 years gained some traction. 9 out of 10, as I said, is the average here. Was you expecting that from Infinite Wealth?
No, I mean, you hope for it.
Yeah,
but
you got to live in the real world, though, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting probably mid-80s ish. So it's at the high end, arguably, of where it could have been. So I'd absolutely take it. But I just feel, I mean, look, it's great. Like, we've got a couple of games already that have hit 90. Like, laughing, really. But didn't expect any of these really to be at that level. It's surprised me, but again, I always go back to it. What do I know?
No. Well, Paper slagged this off. I remember on the draft, he was laughing at this.
He slags everything off, though. He's the ultimate mind game merchant. Nothing's on his list. Nothing's here. I haven't got that. Not interested. Right? It's what he'll always say.
Yeah.
Because he claims data.
Yeah. Well, the data was there because Like a Dragon, as in the last one, got a 86. So it was on. He's in the ballpark, but to breach the 90s, as we say, is always special. Whether it stays there long term, I don't know, but let's hope so. Let's have a look at some of these bloody reviews. Oh, let's get PC Gamer. PC Gamer are like the new Metro. They seem to shit on things a lot. Not shit on things, but always a grade or two below, which dumps some of the scores down.
Conservative PC Gamer.
Dominic Tarrison. Stuffed with content, Infinite Wealth delivers a near excessive amount of urban crime drama adventures. 80 out of 100s. That's a bit short, actually. Not ideal from them. What about Michael Hyam, who also scored it an 8? I'll find a 9 in a minute. Infinite Wealth takes 1 step forward and 2 steps back, leaving conflicted feelings amid its outstanding RPG systems and phenomenal character moments. But it's still an 8. That sounds like it should be lower if it's 2 steps back. That's in 7 territory for me. Let's have a look. Tristan Olig. Oh, God. Oh, you've done this before, haven't you? What's that one? Ogilvie. Ogilvie. Nonsense. Sprawling, enthralling, and packed with dynamic brawling. Oh, God. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
What do they call that? There's a word for when they do that bullshit.
Behaviour. Infinite Wealth isn't just the best turn-based Like a Dragon game. Well, there's only one other one out there. It's one of the greatest games in the entire series. All right, we'll accept that last one. 9 out of 10. So I need to say people are happy with this. I would like to play this, but I'm so far behind in the series that getting to this stage feels tricky. And I know it's supposed to be a new entry. It's got a new protagonist, but I'm almost certain that there's ties.
This is the one where you said that they gave stuff away.
That was the other one.
That.
The man who erased his name.
That's it.
I'm like, well... Now,
the title.
Well, I kind of understand what's going to happen at the end of the Yakuza 6 then. Thank you for that. Thanks for that. But
such a shit name as well.
I know, it was unnecessary. It wasn't
Yeah.
needed. It really wasn't needed from them, but they decided to do that. But yeah, I'm so far behind that it's going to just take a while to get through them all. That will be a project of mine to do over the next few years to get up to speed.
At least you know it gets better. Like, it doesn't get worse. Like, imagine looking at that and it gets worse. And you really want to play one that is good, but you know you're kind of tied into it and it gets a bit worse after. At least you know you've got something to progressively kind of look forward to in terms of things getting a bit better. But
in a pre-Persona world where I hadn't gone through those games 4 and 5, the fact that this had gone from action combat to turn-based combat would have been a bit of a concern, because these last two are turn-based. But that's no longer an issue for me. But yeah, impressive stuff, impressive score. Sets you up nicely. Sitting there with 267 points, 3 games out, 89 average. Obviously, Paper's now made the mark of a 90, with a 90 average of 1 game out. He's got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming, Persona 3 Reload. That Elden Ring DLC's rumoured to be sniffing around, and other things like Princess Peach Showtime. So it's all going to start getting busy if it's not busy already. I mean, you couldn't have asked for much of a better start out of that. Your top 3 games are out, all scoring over 85, 2 of them in the 90s. This is almost like deja vu of last season. Should we just call it off now?
No. I've got some real concerning ones that I feel could go either way. So
which what you got any in mind?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, but I still feel like they could do well. I've got some decisions to make. I still think the potential's there, but whether I do, I think it depends. Like, the problem is, I think because some of my games have done better than I thought, I can probably be a bit more conservative a bit further down the line. So I think that's where I'm at for it. But I think it also depends on what Paper's games do, because sometimes, you know, it depends where you are. Like, if you look at what Adkins did last year, like, he could have been more conservative and sealed the title, but he tried to be more risky and it didn't pay off. So it's good that I've got some good scores out early doors, because it kind of takes the pressure off. But I think Papers could do well as well. So we could be neck and neck going into the spring.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned Adkins there. Adkins is the one that's got Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which was his, well, I don't think it was his top pick, but that's what he ended up with in the draft, because he was a bit further down the order. So he'll be pleased with that. In terms of the Grand Prix, that leaves us with Biff still in the lead. He's got his 3 games out, average of 84, 251 points. Salmon and Adkins both tied for second with 90 points, 161 points off the pace. Adcock, Parky and Hall still no games out, so they are 252 points off the pace. No, 251 points off the pace. And Hall sitting with a -5 penalty as well, so he's a bit further away from everyone. So Biff, Salmon, Adkins all off the mark, and good stuff. Interested to see where that goes. Biff's the first one with the old 74, with that another code recollection that we talked about the other week. But things are becoming thick and fast, and it'll start to iron things out. I'm waiting for the first real blow, like a big game to come out and cost someone. Because that another code recollect, I think people will just shrug shoulders at that. Like, well, I don't know what he was thinking, but it's there. Like, what if Rebirth comes out and shits the bed?
Well,
Senua Saga Hellblade 2, Phil craps another one out and shrugs his shoulders at it and goes, well...
It's possible. You don't write anything off. Like, there's been a couple that have now come out that have probably been higher than you'd expected. You can bet your ass a couple will come out that just tank, that you just didn't expect as well.
Yeah. Here's one for you.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have seen this, because I was concerned that it was just a Ronnieism. but this is proven that there's other people out there that suffer with this complex. Dragon's Dogma 2 director says he doesn't like fast travel because it can mean the game is boring. Quote, all you have to do is make travel fun. Okay. Quote, just give it a try, he said. Travel is boring? That's not true. It's only an issue because your game is boring. All you have to do is make travel fun. That's why you place things in the right location for your players to discover, or come up with enemy appearance methods that create a different experience each time, or force players into blind situations where they don't know whether it's safe or not 10 metres out in front of them. This man's speaking to my heart, isn't he? I hate fast travel. I think it's one of the most reductive things in gaming. But obviously it's a great convenience factor. But my view has always been the same. Why are we playing these open world games if we're just going to fast travel from point to point? It might as well be a linear game at that point. You might as well play a game full of corridors. But Hideki Itsuno is saying, look, it shouldn't be like that. So I'm hoping, it sounds like he thinks he's got some tricks up his sleeve for Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, if it comes out and it is boring to go from area to area, he's going to have egg on his face because he's come out and said this. But what do you make of all this? Fast travelling in game is a pile of shit, unless it's contextualised. I've said that for many times. But I completely agree with what he says, that the reason why people fast travel is because the travelling's boring, but that's not an unsolvable problem. Like in reality, in a perfect world, it should all be engaging, shouldn't it? Going from point to point, exploring and doing the main quests that are in certain locations. So I'm happy to see someone that's seemingly going to address this.
I think it depends, right?
No.
Yeah. Because
there's no depending.
sometimes I don't want to be bothered. Sometimes you're telling me, give me a quest to do, and I've got something that I need to get, and I've had to do a load of work. I've had to defeat a boss. I've had to pick something up. I've got to take it back somewhere. I don't want to get in any more combat.
Right? It could be combat. You might just see someone that you've got to rescue. They're going, help!
I just want to focus. I want to get this quest done and move on to the next. Sometimes, like, I think about Valhalla, Assassin's Creed, right?
Yeah, but yes.
Big map, pretty big open world. I ain't gonna go from fucking. I don't want to be snowed up in travelling between England and Ireland, a load of sea. It's not that it's not interesting. It's just it'll take a fucking long time.
Make the sea more engaging. Make little moments.
Do you know what I mean?
Stories.
Though I think all of a sudden, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, I think loading between zones is different though. When you're loading a new map.
This is what I mean.
What we're talking about here is you're on the zone. You've got to go from north to south, and the reason why you fast travel is because there's nothing to do, or it's just easy and convenient to do it.
I mean, look, I think if you take something like GTA, right, the best part of GTA, I find, is the in-between.
Of course.
So there's merit in it. But I think
Correct, at last.
If you were going from one island to another, like I think it depends on the scale and what you're doing. Because vast swathes of sea are never going to be fun to traverse, especially if you want to transmit scale. Like a lot of these games want you to feel the size of the map that they've created or the world, because that's part of the design, if you like. So if all of a sudden I've got to spend 10 minutes fucking going from one side to the other, a game that I would cite as well is RuneScape, right? Something like that.
It's about 50 years old.
I know, but you're constantly doing quests that involve you going to speak to so-and-so, go back to here, go and investigate there, go and get that, do this, solve a puzzle. And there's no other real form of transport other than running. Yeah. And it's fucking irritating to have to run.
But that's because the world's not that exciting, just naturally. It's just a dress. It's a backdrop.
Yeah, but if that wasn't there, it'd be a real fucking pain in the arse.
That's what he's saying. Look, make it exciting.
Right, but you don't. I'm not saying exciting has to be, because then it becomes
Redemption,
a pain in the arse.
Random encounters.
If I've got to deal with something, then that's just becoming an inconvenience. And then all of a sudden, I can't fast travel. And in between point to point, I've got to fight. If there's players there, if there's PvP, I've got to fucking just have a battle to get from one side of the map to the other.
It's a tough world out there.
I think there's a time and a place for it, and I think it also depends on the game. I agree with what he's saying. Like, make it part of the game. Like, Grand Theft Auto is a prime example of fun travel, but they've just sussed it. Like, you can get a plane, you can fucking get on a bike, you can run, you get a boat. Like, you've got all these different options. There is merit in what he's saying, but I also think in some games, like, you just want to get through it. Like, that isn't the good part of the game. That's not the good part of the game. You want to get to the part that is good.
That's a sickness with what is good though. You're doing fetch quests. That's part of the problem. Is they're making you do two. Like, you got to design. If you design the game better, where you're not feeling aggrieved having to run from zone to zone. You know,
sometimes it's life. I've got to go and get fucking. I've got to go to the shops. Right, I've got to go and get shopping. No, this is what I'm saying. I've got to go. I can't afford online shopping. I can't pay the fee. I'm on a budget.
Well, take that fucking RSPCA money away.
Not me. But the point is, you're on a budget. You've got to go shopping. The fun bit isn't getting in the car. You just want to get there and get the shopping done. So if you could cut out that, going to work.
What's fun about dropping some fucking seeds off to the bloke in the other zone? That's not. There's nothing fun about that.
There's different games and there's different but what I'm saying is, I think there is I think he's right, but I wouldn't want to see it removed. I want the option.
Oh no, so it does have 2 fast travel options, but they do come with some caveats. They've got these port crystals that are located around the land, so like most games, specific points where you can fast travel to and from, but you've got to use a rare item to do that, which I think is fair enough. Like, if you want to do it, you've got to do a bit of work to get the ferry stone to do it. And then there are these carts which you can use to fast travel along certain routes. So routes with roads, almost like not a taxi service, but like a cart service. And randomly, that ride can get interrupted by blocked. You know, it could be an accident on the road that ends up being an ambush. There's goblins that might try and. So it could is like there's a dice roll chance that you get interrupted. So actually, your fast travel option is interrupted, and you've got no choice but to get into a battle. Which I think, again, is a nice little compromise. It's not always going to be easy street. Like, you might occasionally have to fucking get out and deal with something and then get back on it. Or he's even saying that something might come along and destroy the car and you have to walk the rest of the way. So they're claiming dynamic moments that could happen.
But how do you feel about, like, God of War then? Like, using the...
Right, so my problem... yes, there is definitely an issue with that. The thing that gets out of jail is it's contextualised, isn't it? You walk through that door and you walk out, it's all in the world. What I can't stand is when you just go, Cyberpunk, right? There's a metro system. So you fast travel from one metro station to the other. You can fast travel just randomly as well. It just goes to a black screen, goes back. And I'm like, okay, on the metro side of things, that's fine, because I'm riding, I don't need to see myself riding the train. But then you look at the time it took for me to get from station A to station B, like the in-game clock, it hasn't changed, so it's instant, so it's a lie. The metro ain't that fast. It would have cost me an hour of in-game time potentially, and it hasn't. So it comes down to how it's like Zelda's the easy one, because you've got a little Sheikah slate, and in the game you fade up into the world and then fade back down. It's like, okay, it's magic. I'm fine with that. I just don't like these lazy approaches. Like, well, it's fast travel, and it just skips, a big portion of the game. Like,
I mean, I do agree with that. I think it should be part of the world, and I'm comfortable with that. Like, any game like RuneScape, you can travel from point to point, or you've got certain equipment that allows you to fast travel to certain points because you've got that equipment that lets you do it. Like that, it's contextualized. But my point is that in itself isn't wrong. Like,
it's fundamentally wrong.
That's the piece that
morally abhorrent.
Like, all of a sudden, if we're saying that God of War's boring because the game's boring, like, it's just not. But the simple fact is if you want to have a good game where you do the fun parts, there needs to be an element of traveling and traversing the world. Yeah. But like, you want to get to the action scenes, you want to be throwing your axe, like, and that's where you want the game developer as well to be focusing their resource to make that interesting, rather than making it interesting to go from fucking one point to the other. Like, and in some ways, it's good to do that. Like, but I find it a weird thing to get snarled up on. Like,
he said it. It's his words, not mine.
I know, but this is what I mean. I think it's unfair from him to say that games are boring if you don't enjoy traveling. Well, no one finds traveling in any form generally fun. It's an exception to the rule. If you've got a fast car, it's fun to drive it, but most people can't afford a 200 grand car to drive it. Some people don't even like driving, don't even like traveling. So you're never going to win, right? And then in games, apparently, all of a sudden you've got to just make all this stuff really good and spend a load of time on.
But the point is, why bother then? Why bother make it an open world? Why not just have it as a linear action experience that just cuts from one segment to the other and truly
I'm not
cuts
against that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's fine.
But I still think like that you can get benefits. This is like the lowest priority thing,
Highest.
like in terms of fun. Like, and I think everyone gets snarled up with fast travel, going, "Ooh, who gives a fuck? If I can get from one point to another where I get to do the bits that I want to do and cut out the bullshit, like I'd rather that be the case in real life. I wouldn't want someone to say, no, you can't just fast travel to work. Oh, what? Because it's not. No, I don't want to do that hour train journey. I'd rather have an extra hour in bed. Like, it's not the good part of my day.
But he's saying you can make it the good part. You can make it interesting. That's the argument. The reason why it's boring is those trains are boring because they're fucking boring. He's saying, look, you can fix it by making that part of it engaging and actually exciting. The same with like the Zelda games. Yes, there's fast travel, but people find the exploration in that game hugely gratifying because it's fun to just explore the world and do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but sometimes if you're still doing shit and getting shit done, you go, I'm in getting shit on fast travel, you do it.
yeah. Weakness.
You don't just completely rule it out and go.
He's not ruling it out.
One.
You've got the little stones to use. Saying if you want to use it, you can. But
yeah, I'm fine with that.
You'll be missing out.
I disagree that it should be fundamentally press start, pick a point of the map, transport. Like I disagree with that. Unless for some reason that is part of the game, like it's one of your powers, you can fucking materialize and dematerialize. But like that's largely going to be an exception to the rule. Like the Cyberpunk one that you outlined, like is wrong. Spider-Man, Metro system.
Well, that's Speddings too. You can just do what you like.
Yeah. So I do agree with you that if you're going to include it, there should be a way that it makes sense. I disagree that it should just be a free-for-all instant teleport from one point to another. Like there should be a compromise of some sort, whether it's point to point or whatever it is. Like I agree with that, but I disagree that it's because in all cases that the travel's boring. Like travel is inherently just time sink.
Yeah,
like,
but it's a video game. You can make it anything as boring as or exciting as you want.
Well, it depends. It's got to be contextualized with the game. Like, you can't all of a sudden in Grand Theft Auto have fucking magical powers. Like,
nope. but you can get a taxi service and skip through.
You can get in a taxi, or you can get on a bus, or whatever it is, or you can just use one of the modes.
Who's that? Roman.
What's that? GTA 4? Roman.
Yeah, taxi service.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he go take me from here to here. Yeah, I do remember that, and I did use that a few times. But in the end, I was like, this is actually more boring than me just stealing a car and thrashing it around.
I mean, that's the advantage of having city-based games is there's more, immediate dynamic things that can happen. But I don't know. Did you play Red Dead 2?
Yeah.
Because they made this, as far as I remember, they made the fast traveling that a bit of a pain to get to. You had to go to a book and you can only go to certain areas. But I never was even once interested in fast traveling because, again, Rockstar tend to make their open world so dense that you don't know what you're going to stumble across on your journey. Sometimes there might be a woman on the side of the road. There's this woman asking for help and there's a decision for me to make. Shall I help her? Or if I wanted to, I could have just tied her up and murdered her. I never had any urge to fast travel in that game because
I think there was you could progress as well. So this is one thing I do like is give me an incentive to do it. Like I could ride the horse and I could improve some of my horse riding or my horse's stamina or something like that by doing it. And the bond, So there was an incentive that I would get out of doing it. It wasn't just doing it for the sake of it. So I think I was more incentivized to do it because of that. But I still feel like I could teleport or transport from camp to camp. But there was...
You had to go to a book, I remember. It wasn't... as far as I remember, it wasn't like just open the map and choose to go to that point. Now, you had to go to your camp and then to open the book in the camp and choose the settlement, I think, is how it used to work.
Yeah. Sorry, you are right. Yeah, so you'd have to go back to the camp, or
That's it.
Because your save points were there as well.
I'm sure you had to unlock it. It wasn't like immediately there. So
no.
It was.
But again, once you get to a point where you're doing things at scale, it's like, even if the incentive's there, like it's a significant time and you had to keep fucking pressing the button, that circle button or whatever it is, to keep that fucking horse and bashing the horse, going, come on. And you're thinking you're doing that for 10 minutes, you go, fucking hell, But
that's part of also, like, not to get stuck on Red Dead, like the fact that your horse could die, like if you fast travelled more often than not, you kind of remove a lot of that danger or that element of it, because you artificially keep the horse safe. Whereas I remember going from point to point, and I was being a bit careless running across the fields, and there was this small cliff, went straight off the end, horse fell off and broke its neck. And I was like, good Lord. That just wouldn't have happened.
You telling me about this. Heartbroken.
I was. That just would not have happened if I had just chose to use the camp method. So, I don't know, I think if you can do it right, I would encourage people to not fast travel. If you're doing trophy cleanups at the end of the match, like if you just want to get your trophies and finish up the 100%, obviously. But I think playing through the game as naturally as possible, I would recommend. But I know it's me and fucking Etsuno that think this. So
I think it's fine. But I think my point is, leave it there. It serves a purpose, depending on what you're doing and what sort of game it is. But I don't think it automatically means your world's uninteresting or boring. I think sometimes it's just a case of the fun stuff in that game is elsewhere, and you just want to get from point to point to the other fun stuff that's better. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I've butchered his name badly. Itsuno. Oh no! Bullshit. That's because... So, Video Games Chronicle have written his name in 2 different spellings. In the bit I just highlighted, they've spelled it Itusuno, but it's actually Itsuno, so it's Itsuno. So I had it right, you fucking... Right, I need to be reporting this. Chris Scullion on the bad list for spelling the bloody name wrong.
In the doghouse.
Would he do that with the surname Smith? Wouldn't have thought so. Wonder what biases Chris has. Anyway, let's end it on that note. Leave people with the hanging question that everyone wants to know the answer to. What do we have coming up at the end? We've got Little Nightmares 2 Enhanced Edition.
There you go.
So we've got Little Nightmares Complete Edition, or whatever it was called, a couple of weeks ago. This is the second part of that game. Looking forward to the third one. Now, I think in this one, I note that there's like an AI companion with you, which is fine. It was interesting. And I think we speculated on whether the third one would allow a player to control that person. And I was a bit like, I don't know whether that would be... Like, if it becomes reliant on a human to interact, it's almost like it has to be a two-player game. Like Unravel 2, I remember we bring that up. Now, I did some research. I think they are planning to have that controllable by another person. So, concerns.
Online, you babysit me through it. Yes, now you got to drag me through it to spoil your whole experience.
Well, that's what I mean. I'd rather just stick with the AI, the dumb AI. It's probably more intelligent than most of the partners that I can wheel together. But
no doubt about that.
Yeah, but I'm interested. Obviously, I'm interested in this series, even though I crapped all over that first one. It's like give away the game that I might have been a little bit more positive about the second one, but the third one is being done by the Until Dawn devs. So
yeah,
interested to see what they get up to. Anyway, no more waffling. We've got Little Nightmares 2 Enhanced Edition coming to close out this edition of Idle Game Chat. So we'll see you on the other side. Here we are then, back with some game impressions to close out this edition of Idle Game Chat. You got Apps here and the resident referee Logan, and we are here to talk about Little Nightmares 2 Enhanced Edition, which is key, which I'll explain later on. But Logan returns to do the piloting on this one. Just for context, we have done the Little Nightmares OG, or the Little Nightmares Complete Edition. I gave my thoughts on that, put it in the botchling bin. So already 2 is under pressure. because I ain't happy with what I've just played, and I've gone straight into this almost. So,
And you're you're already riled up on it because we've literally gone
back to back.
I mean,
Wow.
we've gone back to back, which is unusual. Well, we do, yeah. I think it's a good one to go back to back. So I even suggested to you, do we put them in together? And you were like, nope, 2 individual games, which I think is the right thing to do. But
stretch the content out, which I keep saying about these game passes. Keep stretching it out. Get people coming back for more.
Chop it up into digestible bits that people can have little by little.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if you haven't listened to that, it'll be... Well, I'd like to hope that we've put that out before this. I expect so. So you'll have to go back. I don't know what episode it'll be on, so I can't even tell you that. Don't know anything.
Could have been 6 months ago. Who knows?
Could have been.
What bizarre order I put them out in. Might even put this one out first. Really sting people.
Telling them to go back and find a review that doesn't yet exist.
No.
And these aren't ever standalone now, are they, these reviews? These are just bolted on to the podcast.
Indeed.
So you'll have to go and find the podcast with said review and deal with that first.
Well, to help people out, I do name the episodes the game that gets the highlight at the end. Just because... Well, I can't think of... Because otherwise it's like, what sort of shitty news fucking title do you put in? Whereas this just simplifies it. It's just the game that gets highlighted, done, feet up.
Yeah. So go back and find it, I think, is a message, because it will probably be the genesis to this conversation that we've, ironically, me and you have just had, but could be 6 months apart in terms of what the people are listening have.
Indeed.
So there you go. What do they call it? Groundwork laid, homework done.
Foundations
laid. So here we are again, Little Nightmares 2. Cards on the table, assuming that you played this on the PS5.
Indeed, yeah. I got the enhanced edition on the
native?
PlayStation 5. Yeah, this is a native edition. What's interesting about that, actually, which I didn't know, was that Tarsier Studios did the original and did Little Nightmares 2. However, the enhanced edition, which is the PS5 and Xbox Series, and I think PC got a native version of this, or a upgraded version, was done and developed by Supermassive Games. Now, Supermassive Games are the people that do the Dark Pictures anthology. They did... What was that fucking other one called? That survival horror. They did Hidden Agenda, actually, ages ago, but that was a phone-type game. But they did Until Dawn, The Quarry. So these are games that have been reviewed in past, again, episodes. You want to go and find them. So Supermassive handle, I guess, the enhanced edition of it, so that the port, which has just better resolutions and frame rates. I don't think there's any added content necessarily, but they spruced it up. What's interesting about that, leading into Little Nightmares 3, is that Tarsier Studios are no longer going to be developing these games. Supermassive are going to be doing them. So that's, in a way, more exciting for me, because I like Supermassive, and Tarsier's last outing got crapped on. So... We wonder what's going to go on there, and Supermassive are going to take it over. There's trailers out there, and I was like, well, is this now the perfect partnership? I guess we'll find out when the game releases. But yeah, just an interesting note there that this particular version was actually done by Supermassive. And I think it's because Tarsier got purchased by I don't know who it was now, but they basically got purchased, and I think it's Embracer Group, who fucking, I don't know what they're doing, but they'll probably be going under soon if they're not careful. But Bandai Namco publish it, own the IP, and Bandai Namco work very closely with Supermassive on the Dark Pictures anthology for the horror game. So they've clearly gone, right, we've got this IP, do you want to go at it? Little 2.5D horror puzzler. And they're like, well, we'll do the enhanced edition, see what the code looks like, and then they've greenlit a third. So there we go.
There's the lore for you.
That's the backstory.
Rich backstory given on this. So, little enhanced edition. Nice little Brucey. Where do you want to start? Store page.
Yes, let's do the store page and see if it's just as bad as the original Little
salad.
Nightmares. I think it is, to be honest. I had it up a second ago and I glanced at it. Here we go. So... the enhanced edition was a free upgrade if you had the PS4 version. So it weren't one of these little, you got to buy it again jobbies. So anyone that's got it in their library and not played it for whatever reason, and you've got a PS5 or a Series X or S, then you can upgrade it to this at no extra charge. Return to a world of charming horror in Little Nightmares 2. a suspense adventure game in which you play as Mono, a young boy trapped in a world that has been distorted by the humming transmission of a distant tower. With Six, the girl in the yellow raincoat as his guide, Mono sets out to discover the dark secrets of the signal tower. Their journey won't be easy. Mono and Six will face a host of new threats from terrible residents of this world. Will you dare face this collection of new little nightmares? So not as big a word salad, but still trying to be too cute with it, I think, is the feedback I've got.
They always just chuck a lot of words, like extra words, I think is the only way to describe it, that are completely unnatural in how you would usually talk in your day-to-day. So, yeah, it always surprises me a bit when I hear them. So, I mean, it's arguably more of the same, but by the sounds of it, different character or different lead name, if I remember rightly, from the original one. So
correct.
Is that so? It's a slight departation from format.
Here's the key. Throughout the majority of the game, you've got a little co-op buddy with you, a little AI buddy, which is Six, who they reference in that store page. So there are instances where you're on your own and you get split up or whatever. That's standard with sort of companion type games. You ain't going to be together all the time. But for a large portion of the game, you've got her by your side who sort of runs around. And do you know what? She really helps out just sometimes when you go to a room and you think, where am I going here? They just go to the door and look up at it and you think, oh, they're going to boost me up and open the doorway. There's nothing else for us to be getting squabbled in with. But what that adds is much, I think, nicer puzzles, a bit more complexity is being allowed because you kind of got to get her into the right position, then you've got to go in the right position. You don't control her directly, I must add. And it's paramount that the AI isn't a complete shit brain. And fortunately in this, she's not. She's very much there to assist you. And I think they kind of recognise that having her just point out small details like where to be boosted and stuff just takes away an element of fucking about. And you sort of become to appreciate having her around because of that. And that builds sort of a sense of accountability because you're you're almost like looking after that. You find this sort of girl quite early on. You feel like you're kind of looking after her, even though she's very much holding her own, helping out with the puzzles. You're still sort of the lead. You're going out into most of the dangerous stuff, but you kind of want to make sure you both get through this experience as unscathed as you can when it comes to Little Nightmares 2.
Interesting. So takes the edge off it is what I'm hearing.
I don't think it takes the edge off it, but it certainly, I think it gives you a different dimension, like I said, with the concern for someone else rather than just your own skin. Because you know, if you fuck this up, you're both gone in this instance. And obviously from a story perspective, yeah, I think it's up in the stakes, absolutely. And from a story perspective, it offers some, interesting ways in which they can go. And from a gameplay perspective, well, it just sort of smooths out some of the rougher edges. Like, even in an instance where we go back to these chase scenes, which I like from the original, they are in this game. There's a little bit more complexity to them. There's sometimes things firing projectiles at you. And Six leads the way. So you kind of know, I've got to run to that box to hide here, wait for the shot, then go. Do you know what I mean? So there's these little subtle sort of hints that having her around just helps you with, rather than you trying to figure it out yourself and dying consistently. There are, and it's not all the time. It's a puzzle game. You're working out a lot of this yourself, but there are just instances where they've recognised that it might just be handy to have her lead the way just a bit, so that you don't die unnecessarily and stupidly. And you still will die because you've still got to execute, the path and whatnot. But at least you know what the path is, and you're not getting fucked about by getting it wrong. So, yeah, this was a great addition. I wasn't really expecting. I kind of knew, because you look on the artwork and you can see her in the artwork, and I wasn't sure how that was implemented, whether they were just sort of a character that comes in and comes out. But throughout the vast majority of the game, she'll be there, and you'll be going through this world together and using that two-person dynamic to overcome the puzzles and escape this fucking horrible world you've been lumbered in again. And what's interesting, I guess, from a lore perspective, is Six is the girl from the first game. So those that have played will recognise the raincoat and be like, oh, a little bit of a sequel continuity going on there.
Yes, this is what I was going to ask, because I know that obviously you played this with an eye on Little Nightmares 3 and ensuring that you had the rich backstory. There is continuity between the games then.
Only in that sense, I would say. I think there is some subtle, more direct links between the two games. But I would say if you were just coming into this, you could quite easily get away with this, because the first game you sort of left wondering exactly what happened. And it's not a dissimilar situation here where nothing's explicitly spelled out. There's no... They interact with each other like through animations, which is fun to watch, but there's no dialogue between them. There's no explanation of why she's there, who she is, or anything like that. So you could come into it and not really need to know about what's occurred before, because I don't think it's overly important to Little Nightmares 2 from that perspective. It's just an interesting little nugget, I guess, for those that have played it. And if you've seen any of the trailers from the first one, you'll immediately recognise the yellow raincoat. So that's kind of the giveaway that it's going to be her.
Interesting. So obviously we don't want to specifically address some of the questions that you had on from the first review, but what did you feel like? And I want to judge this as its own game, but obviously referencing some of your experiences in the first one, I think that's fair to do so, because you're naturally going to put that as kind of the line in the sand, and then it's going to go either stay where it is, up or down from that position, right? So do you feel like, by the sounds of it, graphically it should have been, or at least in performance, a step up?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it is definitely on that perspective a step up. Is it a generational step up? No, because actually this was originally released for PS4 and Xbox One and that lot originally, and it came to this enhanced edition came later. But it certainly looks probably a little bit nicer, I'd say, and runs maybe a higher frame rate. But the other one didn't look bad or run badly. So yes, it's an improvement, but it's not enough to really hang your hat on and say, "Cool, real upgrade."
So a nice little running boost, I think, more than anything by the sounds of it. A little bit of a spruce up. So it's a puzzle platformer, I assume. We're back to that, yeah?
We're back to the puzzle platforming. It's very much the same kind of idea, just with a different take on it, different environment, different enemies. You've got a partner with you for the a huge chunk of the game and throughout. You can, in instances this time, also pick up certain weapons to battle off smaller enemies. So it kind of introduces that as an element, whereas in the first game it wasn't really a thing. You were taking on always these big things and stealthing your way through. This does have a little bit of, I wouldn't call it action, because I think it was stretching the dictionary by doing that, but there are elements where you can defend yourself and you're not completely helpless, which gives you a little bit of a sense of empowerment. But again, you come up against one of these big fucks, you ain't gonna bat them away with a fucking hammer. It ain't gonna work. So you just get on your fucking bike and get out of there, or stay out of sight, really.
So I guess the thing that is going to make and potentially break your experience is the puzzles. So how did you find the puzzles in Little Nightmares 2?
I mean, they were fine.
Okay.
They were
fine in a good way?
Yeah, they were fine. They were good. I thought they were nicely balanced. I had a few head scratches, but nothing that broke my brain. I liked, as I said, I keep mentioning you got your little co-op buddy with you. I like the fact that she's kind of integrated into a lot of the puzzles. They do some interesting things with certain puzzle types and tropes that you might have seen before. And generally, I felt that they were well balanced. If you fell or failed in certain elements, then the checkpointing felt like that was resolved to a certain extent. Wasn't completely crapped on and expected to do several sequences in one go, at least in the times that I died. Again, there may be a part in the game where that becomes a problem with people, and that relieved a lot of the puzzle stress and any combat or stealth stress, and they stuck the landing, I guess, when it comes to the puzzle element, for sure.
Well, that is an upgrade, shall we say, from your experience at times in the original, which is good. And I always think that sometimes having a buddy in whatever form it is, AI or human form or whatever it is adds a bit of adds a good dimension, I think, to puzzle solving. And one of the things that you and I have both liked about Inside Out, for example, was that kind of co-op puzzle element that is introduced where you've both got to do your part in it to get through. So I think that does add another layer, I suspect. And as you say, she perhaps gives you a minor hint of what the next step is as well. So
yeah,
sounds like a nice little upgrade there in terms of experience for you. Is there anything else?
Well, the worst thing you can do with a co-op buddy is make them a burden. Like an unnecessary
you've got to kind
burden.
of carry them through.
Yeah, and they absolutely don't do that. Like, I mean, I think there's elements where sometimes a game stretching for realism will take it too far. Like that, well, there's nothing worse if you had a co-op buddy and they run out of cover and get seen, it blows the whole spot. That's not a problem here, either through the fact that Six just keeps herself out of the way, or that the enemies don't tend to recognise her, or maybe they didn't see it. So I think that if you're going to do that, you have to just sort of allow for those instances to play out, or design them in a way that it's not a problem. They've done that. So she wasn't a burden. She wasn't a pain in the ass. Very much an aid. And I think that's the way to go. I mean, there's instances where they do just get in the way, these co-op buddies. They haven't got the intelligence. They don't offer anything other than verbal diarrhea, than just to talk to you and add fucking backstory and whatnot.
Sarky comments when you're not getting the puzzle right.
And you're like, well, hang on, you fucking sort it out. But generally, really well implemented, and it's not an easy thing to do, because I've played many a game where they struggle with that, and it's sort of like, well, perhaps you should play it co-op with a human, and that's not an option here, but usually that's the get out clause. It's like, well, it's a co-op game now, not a single player, whereas they've done the needful to make this a single player experience with a co-op partner that's controlled by the AI, who knows what to do, knows exactly what you're asking of, doesn't just not react when you call her to do certain things, reacts in the way that you expect, and is consistent throughout. And that's a huge plus to the game, having that in there and executing it to a high standard.
Yeah, it sounds like a real positive for it. Is there anything else that you feel like they either rectified or that they did well in this one?
I think there's other small quality of life improvements. Like in the original, you pick up a key to go open up a fucking doorway. You pick the key up and you have to fucking hold it and drag it, and it's heavy. It takes a while. In this one, he picks it up. You know, it fucking shrinks somehow, and he puts it in his pocket, and you just run to the door and he gets it. Just small things like that. I think they realised that aren't adding to the experience. Dragging that key across the room for 15, 20 seconds ain't adding anything to it, because the player knows what to do. They just want to get there. So little small tweaks like that absolutely helped it as well. I like the variety in the environments in this one. I mean, it's pretty good in the first one, to be honest, but it's definitely an upgrade here. The stealth sections, they are still there. There's still mandatory stealth involved, but didn't feel as egregious. Again, maybe I was just better at this game, or it connected better, but I didn't have any major problems with that. The chase scenes are back. They're good fun. And overall, just, it was an enjoyable experience. And I was coming off the first one thinking, well, what have we done here? What an error to have just bought into a franchise without even touching the first one. Because like I said, if I played that first one and then hadn't already committed to this, there's a good chance 2 got chucked in the bin. But fortunately, I'd already done it, already bought it, and thought, well, we've already committed to this. Let's see how it holds up. And pleased to say it was a much more enjoyable experience. Execution was better. They clearly learned lessons from the first one and at least implemented it and didn't put heads up arses. So a very good sequel in that sense of the word. So interested to see what the third one's like, because this will be a super massive project from start to finish, and it'd be interesting to see what those guys can do, because I have enjoyed a lot of their games previously, despite some of their shortcomings. They're always good value, and they are sort of like the de facto horror studio at the moment, that just pumping out decent games in that genre. So I'm interested to see where it goes. new stewards taking over for Little Nightmares 3.
Yeah, do you think they had much of an impact on this one, or was it just a polished job?
I think it's just, well, the fact that they're only credited in the enhanced editions suggests to me that it was a polished job. Now, were there inconsistencies in code? Were there inconsistencies in glitches that they picked up on or were able to smooth out? Perhaps. But I do think you have to give the bulk of the credit to Tarsier Studios, because clearly the design of this one was, in my opinion, far superior than the original. Like, I don't believe that Supermassive went in and added checkpoints, for example. I don't believe they certainly didn't add in the co-op element. That's there from day one. They certainly didn't do the AI for it. So I think it'd be nice just to crap all over Tarsier and say, well, they did the first one, then Supermassive took over and saved this one. But I can only see that they clearly had a much better product shipped here, and that Supermassive come in, spruced it up for current gen, and then been handed the keys to this to do what they please with in the third one. So hats off to Tarsier, because they pulled this out the toilet for me, because it was in the toilet, it was in that botchling bin. So the sequels don't usually get a chance at it, but I'm glad that I made that stupid decision to have committed to it all, because I may well have just walked away from the franchise at that point. Now I'm geared up, I'm ready, I'm excited for Little Nightmares 3 based on playing through 2. And another sort of short weekend experience for people, 5 and a bit hours, 3-4 sessions. You know, a nice little digestible palate cleanser, and always on sale for 12 quid, even less than that. So you can always find this lurking at a price that I think will appeal to people. And we will see what happens with the third one. But pat on the back for everyone involved for Little Nightmares 2.
So yeah, I mean, you know, broadly by the sound of it, they, you know, your feedback on the OG was that good idea, lacking execution, and you feel like they actually enhanced the idea almost by the addition of this kind of co-op element and nailed the execution of it.
They didn't need to introduce the co-op element. At no point was I thinking that would enhance it. In fact, I thought they'll blow this if they're left to do it. But fair play, it was implemented really well. So now it's like, does 3 have that element as well? Probably. I can't even remember from the trailers, to be honest. I haven't gone back and watched them. So possibly. What I'm wary of is that if it does have a co-op element, like, I keep saying co-op, I don't think that really is companion, really, isn't it? Because co-op suggests 2 people playing. But my fear is that they introduce it and say it's now 2-player as an option, and therefore the same care and attention is not put into the AI companion being up to snuff. But that may well be staying up at night thinking about things that ain't going to happen. So shouldn't really be concerned about it.
I know what you mean, though. You think, are they going to take that one step further and
get cocky with it?
Like Up. Was it Up? Oh, there was another Unraveled, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. So like Unraveled, they did that.
I think they did with Unraveled 2, didn't they? I think that was mandatory co-op. I don't know if the first one was. I don't think it was.
It wasn't.
Because I wanted to play that, and I was like, well...
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden two or nothing.
Yeah,
you go, well, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but going from if it's a standalone game, it's fine to do it that way. Like Inside Out, they went, there you go, that's it. But it's strange when they go from solo to co-op experience. It's a bit strange. I think you can do Unraveled 2 with just one.
Okay,
but
just control both the. I think you might.
I don't
switch.
know. I think it's not ideal. It's obviously meant to be played as a co-op, but so I think by the sounds of it, it's kind of ticked those boxes. Is there anything in it that you didn't much like, or that reminded you of the things that pissed you off in the first one?
I don't think so. I really don't think I had problems at all. I mean, there's one puzzle I got stuck on, but again, that's all part of the course. Didn't get stuck for that long either. No, I mean, really, this is what I was looking for out of the first one.
Yeah.
And it was just a much more consistent effort and a more of a, they stuck the landing on it. So that's all I was after, because I always, as we spoke about before, envisioned this idea being exciting to me and being something that would tempt me in, but the execution wasn't there. And in this case, they've kind of the same sort of baked bean tin cans there. It's just that they've cooked it properly. They haven't tried to fucking take the salt out or whatever they try and do these days, all these foods.
I do like the way that you've gone with this baked bean
Well, it does what it says in the tin, doesn't
analogy.
it? That's actually Romsil, isn't it? If I remember correctly. It's nothing to do with baked beans, or it's just a tin.
I'm fine with it. It's just not one that you've ever used before. You've just gone for this baked bean analogy.
Yeah, but you know what you're getting with baked beans.
The salt out.
You know what you're supposed to get with baked beans, and when it doesn't, you open it up and you have them. You think that ain't what I asked for. And this was. I always just thought this should be. I say easy because it's not easy to make any game, but the idea of it was enough that it would be tempting to me.
Yeah.
And this is what the outcome is. It's like, yes, this is it. You know, is it a game of the fucking generation contender? No, but it's exactly what I was wanting from the first one, and got. So pleased.
So, well, is there anything else at all that you want to just give a noteworthy mention on Little Nightmares 2?
No, I don't think so. I think
I've covered everything.
We covered it all, and people can probably guess that it's not going to be going alongside its brethren. It's the OG in that botchling bin. It's just a case of where on our particular award scale I feel like giving it and recognising it. So I'm happy to reveal that when you're ready.
Yeah, I mean, I think this has definitely gone the way that I arguably expected the first one to go, in that it seemed like it was right up your alley. I guess it's just how far up. I don't know if you should say how far up your alley. It doesn't quite sound right, but you get what I mean. It's like whereabouts on the award. I don't know what you call it, award gallery, or which one does it get? Does it go bronze, or does it get an ultimate seal of approval in a platinum? That would be unbelievable.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Look, it's a solid game. It's good. I wouldn't say it's necessarily great just yet, so it probably excludes it from the gold areas. But it's a really good game and one that I enjoyed. So therefore, Little Nightmares 2 Enhanced Edition Silver.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's got to do to get a goal. I don't know what else it could have done. I just think some games for me have a ceiling that it's not going to... It don't matter how good it is, how well you execute. Unless it has some mind-blowing... I think it would need some sort of mind-blowing story to go along with it. And and whilst it has a narrative there, again, it's told in this way where you never told anything. You just experience it and you put together the pieces yourself. So I think that's what it's missing. I've always been a bit of a story and a lore hound, so things that deliver that tend to get in there, or things that perhaps have they do things that are unexpected. This very much does what you'd expect it to do and delivers well on that. So therefore, it's recognised as in my opinion, a silver grade or a silver ranked game, and that's where it'll be recognised in my personal exhibition.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think sometimes games have a maximum for the budget / design / idea that they've got, right? And the challenges for them, if they want to take it further to change it and improve it, then they can do so. But silver is certainly no disgrace.
No,
especially considering the last one went in the bin.
Well,
so
I mean, it's you could absolutely. It wasn't tipped for that, so it's recovered the franchise in my eyes. And there's part of me that thinks one day I should go back to the first one with all my knowledge and just play it. But I just think I'm going to get frustrated by the same. I know the same bits that I blew on the first one, I'm going to blow again. So I dare and tempt myself with that ridiculous idea. But
I don't think you should feel like I think it's always a temptation, isn't it, when you don't enjoy something to think, is it me?
Blame myself.
Yeah,
I never do. I blame those fucking prats that made it.
Exactly.
I gave them money. Funny enough, it was on. I had it on PlayStation Plus, the original, but it didn't have the DLC. And I don't like buying just DLC and not having the game owned. Yeah. So I bought the game with the DLC. I think it was like £7 for it all, and I was like, well, that's at least I've got the whole package.
Yeah. So I think it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't like to have these DLCs and not the game, because as soon as that subscription runs out one day, you've got
You're
nothing.
Stuck up the creek without a paddle.
I'll pay the extra couple of quid to have it in that library as long as that library stays accessible. Knowing Sony in 5 years they'll shut all that down and go full restart.
Sorry
You're
about
lost
that.
it all. Yeah, fucking be irritating, but no. Pleased with Little Nightmares 2 and definitely on the hunt for Little Nightmares 3. Depending on when it comes out and what the release date is, it may already have been revealed, but I just know it was 2024. This could be a day oneer. Just jump on. If it comes out the same day as like fucking Persona 3 or something ridiculous like that, sorry, but no. But, you know, if it comes out and there's nothing around a week either side of it, I mean, it ain't going to be a 20-hour game. It's going to be another 5-ish hour, maybe a tad longer, but something that I can probably crank out in a couple of weeks tops. Perfect. Get in, get out, review it, done. No complaints there. But that's where we are, the Little Nightmares franchise. One in the botchling bin, which was the original complete edition. And now we've got Little Nightmares 2 Enhanced Edition. No DLC for this one. No, like, expansion. Yeah, it didn't have any. It had like again, like cosmetics, like you can put different hats on and stuff like that, blah, 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 that sort of stuff. It also has this sort of, in the early game, you can do this sort of extra puzzle that unlocks another hat it has in there. And it's kind of like a little 5-minute detour. It has that, but no full-blown like expansion like the original did, which is like new character in the same setting, sort of referencing the core game. They done away with that, so not sure what the rationale was there, but happy with what we've got for Little Nightmares 2, and we'll be continuing to look out for what Supermassive does from the ground up with Little Nightmares 3. Anyway, a silver for Little Nightmares 2 Enhanced Edition, and nothing more for us to say other than thanks for your time and ta-da.
This was a Dimp Digital production.